Okay, so what would you do with $6 million? I asked some people, and a lot of them said donate, travel, maybe retire at 19, whatever floats your boat. But I want you to really think about, what is $6 million worth to you? For us, it's our future and our livelihood. But in 2012, an anonymous buyer decided that $6 million was worth a 300-year-old piece of wood. And that piece of wood has a name. It's called the Countess of Stanlane, and it's a cello. It's one of the last remaining Forma B Stradivarius cellos in existence, and it's hailed as one of the embodiments of perfection of physical form in musical instruments. I'm a cellist. I've been playing for almost 7 years now, and I've gone through about 2 or 3 cellos, and I'm definitely not an expert, but I have noticed that there are little minute differences in each cello that make them unique, and they're extremely important in the way the sound develops and the quality. Like, just a varnish or a type of material makes a huge difference in the way a sound is, the sound comes out of a cello. And so it's really important when a cello is being made that there's a lot of attention to detail in how it's made, what it's made from, and just everything about it. It's an art more than it is a craft. And I think giving context for physicality in musical instruments will really help change and shape the way that you understand and appreciate more classical and traditional music, but I think it applies even today. So like any cello, the Countess of Stanlane began as a piece of maple, and it went through a painstaking process that Stradivarius was able to give her life. And she was made in Cremona in Italy in 1707, and I'm not really going to go into the specifics because that's not as important about who she is. It's a painstaking process, as I mentioned before, the construction of an instrument, and especially cellos. The bigger you get with instruments, like string instruments like violins, violas, cellos, the more finicky, I want to say, the instrument becomes with everything. The Stradivarius cellos represent something called the Platonic ideal form based on material and proportions. And that basically means that it captures the essence of music because it can't capture it through a physical form. It's a little difficult to explain, but that's essentially what it is. So I just want to emphasize that there's a great difficulty in creating this kind of instrument, and it comes from the fact that every single element contributes to weight and volume, which contributes to the sound and the quality of the sound. You want your cello to have depth and fullness. You don't want it to be metallic or nasal, and everything has to be perfect, otherwise it won't create this perfect sound. Even though this process was really demanding, ultimately the Countess of Stanlane ended up being really successful. She had a really long history of owners, including Paganini, who's one of the greatest composers for cello music, and also violin, but cello music, cello. And also Viaume, who is a famed instrument maker, and praised her composition and quality of construction, which really lends to the value of who she is. So in 2012, the Countess of Stanlane was auctioned off for more than $6 million after the passing of her previous owner, Bernard Greenhouse. And he really was obsessed with this cello. There was something really special about the way that she produced sound and performance, and there was something really unique about her sound in particular, and he was just in love with this cello. So even today, experts are still fascinated with her form and how she was constructed and why she's so valuable as an instrument. There's this saying among instrument experts, it's de gustibus non est disputandum, which means in matters of taste there can be no disputes. So even if someone has a difference of opinion about what they like to hear, what kind of music they like to hear, as far as the quality of an instrument, there is no dispute. It's an excellent instrument. So why is this important to us? A beautiful instrument creates beautiful music, and I think that we can all agree that there's something really intimate and emotional about music. For 4 minutes of a piece, a musician can connect with the composer, with their audience, and all of the audience is able to come together just for 4 minutes of having the most emotional and ethereal experience that you can, that goes beyond any physical form. And honestly, I think that's priceless.